Alright, y'all, before we dive into this absolute circus of a love story, go ahead and grab your snacks, get comfortable, and maybe pour yourself a drink because this one right here, this is going to be a whole entire ride. We're about to unpack some serious mess, and trust me, you're gonna need sustenance for this level of drama. So let's jump right into it. Ray J and Princess Love were recently spotted at the Millennium Tour, and they weren't just casually standing near each other, they were full-on kissing, all up in each other's faces like everything is sweet. Now, for anybody who's been paying even the slightest bit of attention to these two over the years, seeing them lock lips in public is like watching the same toxic movie play out for the 100th time. This relationship, it's a mess, a certified reality TV-worthy, can't look away kind of toxic mess. And somehow, someway, they keep pulling each other right back in. Now, let me take you back to where it all started. Ray J and Princess Love began dating around 2013. It was one of those situations where people were like, okay, cute couple, let's see where this goes. And for a minute, it actually seemed like they had something real. Fast forward to 2016, and the two of them decided to make it official. They got married, had a wedding, said their vows, the whole nine. Then came the babies. Two beautiful children entered the picture, and from the outside looking in, it looked like they were building a family, building a life together. But anyone who knows anything about Ray J and Princess knows that the cute phase didn't last long. In fact, it turned messy real quick. And when I say messy, I mean messy. We're talking cheating scandals that made headlines, public fights that had people glued to their screens, and incidents so wild you'd think they were scripted. There were literal shoves into pools, screaming matches caught on camera, and drama that spilled out into the streets. But perhaps the most damaging moment came when Princess accused Ray J of abandoning her and their toddler in Las Vegas while she was pregnant. Let that sink in for a second. She was carrying his child, and according to her, he left them stranded. That's not just messy, that's heartbreaking. That's the kind of thing that breaks trust in ways that are hard to repair. And if you thought that was the end of it, oh no, we're just getting started. Because what followed was a series of divorce filings that would make your head spin. TMZ reported that Princess was the first to file for divorce back in 2020. But then she pulled it back. She retracted it. Then Ray J turned around and filed his own divorce papers later that same year, only to also retract them. Are you keeping up? Because it gets worse. Over the course of their marriage, there have been a total of 4 divorce filings. Warrior. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back. 4 separate times they've tried to call it quits. And the latest one, Princess filed again in 2024. At this point, it's like watching a never-ending loop of we're done, followed by just kidding, we're back. But December of 2024 brought a whole new level of messiness to the table. Princess went full scorched earth and exposed what she claimed was Ray J cheating with a woman named Sukihana. And she didn't just drop some vague accusations. No, she came with receipts. Screenshots were leaked, text messages were shared, and the content? Absolutely wild. We're talking explicit details that nobody, and I mean nobody, needed to know. One of the messages allegedly mentioned something about Suki's juices on his face. Yeah, the public collectively gasped, cringed, and said, that's way too much information. It was the kind of drama that makes you want to close your phone and walk away, but you can't because you're too invested at this point. So after all that, the cheating, the accusations, the divorce filings, the public humiliation, you would think these two would be done for good, right? Wrong. Because in April of 2025, despite everything that had gone down, Ray J and Princess Love were spotted at the Millennium Tour, kissing like none of it ever happened. Cameras caught them in the act, and the internet went into a frenzy. TMZ sources came forward and said that despite all the chaos, despite the divorce still being ongoing, these two still love each other. They're still caught up in whatever twisted cycle this is, and neither one of them seems able to let go. Ray J himself has been vocal about his feelings for Princess. He said publicly that he misses her, that there's something about her he can't shake. In one particularly telling moment, he described her as his ibuprofen. He said she heals his pain, but she also causes him headaches. Think about that for a second. That's not exactly the most romantic comparison, is it? It's telling. It reveals a lot about how he views the relationship, how he views her. And if you've been following Ray J's social media lately, you've probably noticed some odd, erratic behavior. Posts that don't quite make sense. Content that raises eyebrows and has people genuinely concerned about his mental health. There's something going on beneath the surface, and it's bleeding into everything he does. So let's break down what's really happening here, because this is a textbook case of what I like to call the I love you but you won't do right syndrome. Princess is clearly in love with this man. She keeps giving him chances, keeps opening the door back up, keeps believing that maybe this time things will be different, and every single time, Ray J does the same thing. He messes up, he crosses the line, he disrespects the relationship, and then they end up in this semi-separated state where they're not fully together, but they're not fully apart either, and it creates this emotional roller coaster that neither one of them can get off of. Here's the thing though, and I'm going to say this with all the love in my heart for Princess, she needs to stand on business. She needs to enforce some real boundaries, because as long as she keeps letting him back in without consequences, nothing is ever going to change. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying these two don't love each other. They clearly do, but love alone isn't enough to fix what's broken here. This marriage is toxic, and they need serious, intensive help if there's any chance of turning this thing around. I'm talking marriage boot camp, but not the TV show version, the real deal. They need a psychologist to dig into the trauma, a psychiatrist to address any underlying mental health issues, maybe even a nutritionist, because let's be real, stress affects your whole body. They need religious guidance. I don't care if it's a pastor, a rabbi, an imam, a Buddhist monk, whoever speaks to their spirit. At this point, throw in a witch doctor too, if that's what it takes. They need an immersive, no distractions intervention where they're forced to confront the reality of what they've been doing to each other and to themselves. We've seen it work before. Look at Snoop Dogg, who publicly spoke about his relationship awakening. Look at Sinbad, who's been open about his own journey. These are people who hit a wall and decided to do the work. Ray J and Princess need that same moment of clarity. But here's where it gets tricky. When you really listen to Ray J talk about Princess, when you peel back the layers of what he's saying, you start to notice something. His longing for her feels self-centered. That ibuprofen comment, that's about him. That's about what she does for him, how she makes him feel, what she provides for him. There's very little mention of their children in these moments. There's no talk about protecting her, about honoring his duties as a husband. It's all about him and what he's missing. And that right there is a reflection of a bigger problem, a modern misunderstanding of what marriage and commitment actually mean. Marriage is serious. It's not just about feelings or chemistry or even love. It's about protection, partnership, and building something together that's bigger than both of you. But Ray J feels entitled. He's famous, he's got money, and in his mind, that means he's got options. He can step out, do his thing, and still come back to the safety and comfort of what Princess provides. Meanwhile, Princess is over here loving this man more than he seems capable of loving her back. And that imbalance, it's destroying both of them. Ray J's ego and his belief that he's got endless options are preventing him from doing what needs to be done to actually fix this marriage. He's too caught up in himself to see the damage he's causing. So here's my advice, and I'm saying this directly to Princess because I know she deserves better than what she's been getting. You need self-respect. You need to look in the mirror and recognize your worth. A man who continuously disrespects the marriage, who steps out on you, who humiliates you publicly, who fails to protect the family you've built together, that is not a man worth staying with. I don't care how much history you have. I don't care how much love is still there. At some point, you have to choose yourself. You have to choose peace. You have to choose dignity. And if that means walking away for good, then that's exactly what needs to happen. Divorce him, sign the papers, close that chapter, and go find someone who's actually going to respect you, cherish you, and treat you the way you deserve to be treated, because life is too short to keep riding this toxic carousel